Hi, this is KV, and this is the moon phase report for the full moon on March 27, 2013. So first off, I'm going to recap a little bit about the energies that we are currently in and just left this past week, because it has been so intense. And one way to kind of help you understand that is, when we're leaving so much in the sign of Pisces, which is all about, fairy tale, dreamy, sit back and allow the universe to bring what we need, is really what Pisces is about. And then moving into, and that's also the end of the zodiac, so that's the soul, that's like working up to being the most evolved being. And then shifting into Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac and which is thought of as the baby. And it's also about going out and making everything happen now and just being like, I want this, so I want it to happen now. And so that shift can be kind of, heavy duty. It can be like, whoa, wait a minute. A lot of people have been really tired. But also with Mercury shifting on the 17th into direct motion from Pisces, one way I like to describe in my writings about retrogrades is it's like we're in a parallel parking spot, and it's where somebody has only given us like a 1/4 inch in the front and a 1/4 inch in the back. So we shifted into forward motion, but it's something where it's taken a while for us to get it going and really get out of the spot and then like, okay, go. So there was massive fatigue. Almost everybody I have heard of and known has had a really hard time doing anything, and that's why I said last time about it's going to take a while for us to feel this Mars energy, but when we do, it will be forward motion. And like even right now, it's still like there's thoughts of we need to do this, we need to do that, we want this to happen, but the actual energy to make it happen isn't necessarily there for everyone. Some people are there. Some people are already like, let's go, and then some are like, I can't, move forward. Things keep stopping me. But so the planetary alignment, what we have now, is really amazing. And one thing I wanted to warn you, when we do go into so much Aries energy, you're going to be, and also how it's lined up with Pluto. There's a lot of fight energy out there, so there's going to be a lot of people basically having like temper tantrums in a way, because Aries is the baby. So if you imagine, people are feeling very upset because they're not getting their way. So there's lots of lashing out, there's lots of having like baby fits with people. And what's really fascinating about this energy is that because it's tied in with the full moon coming in on the 27th, it's very much relating to us finding balance and learning how we can deal with this to bring about peace. So everything that is happening to you, understand that there's these other layers of it. It's not just this one thing happened. There's so much beneath the surface in everything that is happening with us right now. And it has a very transformative quality. And ultimately that comes about through establishing the peace, because we are in this space now of the Aquarius energies, leaving the Pisces energies of us trying to have compassion for everybody, so we're learning to, there's dog barking. My paper delivery is coming, my birth chart paper. And that's the neighbor dog that guards my house. It's not my dog. So anyway, we'll hear that for a minute. Rumbling of a UPS driver. Where was I? So, okay. So ultimately, there's a lot of things that are happening to us that are throwing us off our comfort zone, grounded space. And there's fight in the element, there's anger, there's being mad that not getting the way, and not being able to communicate in a way that is honoring to all parties. But the whole point is that there are ways that we can find compassionate communication, and there's ways to bring about peace. You know, it's kind of like Mars is war, you know, so you think about it, like so often when you have a problem with someone, you just go at them, you know, pissed off, da 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 da, you know, and we're trying to learn a way to be vulnerable from the flavor of Pisces, and be like, you know what, I'm upset about this, or I'm having a problem with this, or, you know, can we work through whatever, you know. We're just, the whole point of everything happening to you right now is for you to be the upstanding, evolved, mature, one love being that I know you're striving to be, as, you know, everybody that I'm speaking to is. I've narrowed down my energetic thing that I've sent out, and I'm wanting to only reach people like you who do have open minds and do want to better yourself. So it is kind of on your back to be the one who doesn't just come back with fight and turn it into this even crazier thing that's out of control, you know. So it's learning how to be like, you know, understanding where they're coming from, understanding that they're speaking from their wounds, understanding that there's some other underlying thing with why they are lashing out at you. And if you're finding that you're doing it, because it'll probably be you too, it's probably happening to you, but there's also, you know, the element of you doing it too. And I had it where, and also because it's Aries, you're not going to have much guilt about it. So you're going to be like, whatever. I just showed you my ass, but whatever, you know. Like I had it where I had this canceled ticket that I needed to redeem because I just found out that and see, I love being vulnerable, and I encourage you all to be that way. It's really good to share and be honest. But so I found out that my father, who wasn't even in my life for the first 28 years. Like, I was living in San Francisco and I had a vision he was going to die, so I left all these people and things that I loved so much because I knew I had to go back and get to know him, because I was already on this spiritual path at that point. And I was like, dude, if I don't even know my dad, how can that not like really mess me up with relationships with men, with asserting myself, with all kinds of things, you know. So I went back to get to know him, and then all this stuff, it was a really rough time. It was actually when I wrote my birth chart information, so it was a really valuable time. But a lot of really bad things happened. A lot of like the worst things ever in my life happened, and I have been climbing out of that hole for over a decade, you know, and trying to understand why it happened. But anyway, so I got the news that he is end stage, you know, liver failure, and was put on hospice because there's nothing they can do. And now it's, you know, a matter of days. It's a matter of days that he will still be alive before he falls into a coma and is gone. And so, anyway, I had to get a ticket, and I'm like, you know, I have to go back to see my dad, which I'm leaving after I do some of these recordings, which some of them might be a little late because I won't be able to finish them till I get back. But anyway, so I was getting the ticket, and on Travelocity, because that's where my other canceled ticket was, so I wanted to redeem that other part, especially because it's so last minute, and I knew it'd be kind of outrageously priced. So, you know, they're like, oh, so you're going back for a family emergency? Okay, well, we can give you this compassionate rate. And I'm like, oh, that's so kind, cool, you know. So anyway, I'm on, you know, I had to talk to this person, then that person, then this person. I'm on the phone for like an hour. And then finally they were like, well, first off, the compassionate rate was $200 more than the rate on the internet, which I'm like, dude, that's so screwed up, you know? I'll take the other rate then. Screw the compassion on your part. But so anyway, then they were finally like, oh, you know what? When you have a voucher like this, you have to mail it in 12 days before you get a ticket. And this was after I'd been on the phone for an hour, and I was like, dude, there's nowhere on here that it says I have to send this in 12 days before. You know, yeah, that's just how we do it, and otherwise, you know, you can go to the airport, I can hold the ticket, and you can go tomorrow and pay for it. And I'm like, but that's like an hour and a half away. I'm not going to go to the airport. And, you know, it was so frustrating. But then finally, you know, because I was like, dude, I could buy a ticket in 5 minutes. And they were like, yeah, but you couldn't use the voucher number. And I'm like, but I can't anyway. This is run around and waste of my time and ridiculous. And I was just like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to do it online. Clink. And I just hung up on her. And I was like, dude, did I just hang up on her? I've never like hung up on somebody. I was like, I can't believe I just did that. That was so rude. That was so unacceptable of me. So I did have a little bit of guilt, but then I was like, whatever. That was ridiculous. So I got over the guilt quickly because we're in the energy of Mars, which Mars just acts and goes, whatever, deal with it. So you're going to be too having, my point is that you're too going to be feeling these things that are pushing you to the limit, and you're just acting out kind of in a childish manner, because it's like, we're not getting our way, we're pissed off, you know, so we're like, screw you then. And so just my point is, be aware of this energy and do everything you can to kind of like maybe take a couple steps back and think before you lash out, you know, because it's also that we're all in this right now, feeling like anything that we're not getting our way about, we're acting like this child who's pissed off and doesn't understand why they aren't getting their way. So there's going to be a lot of act out energy. The whole thing that's really awesome about this, though, is that there's a couple elements of the energy right now, and one is about we're in this deeply transformative time. So we're all really peeling back layers of more being able to more see who we really are, or what we don't like about ourselves, or anything that's holding us back. So there's one thing too where there's a big trust issue thing that I'll go deeper on your individual readings about that, how it affects your chart. But there's definitely some issues with trust where we're really seeing who we can trust and who we cannot. And there's something with us really knowing it's time to like let that person go, or it's time to let that job go, or it's time to let that thing go, that, you know, there's just something you can't really trust about it, or trust about that person. And you're going to be coming to the realization that it is just time to kind of let that go. And what's really cool about this, though, because they're completely tied in with us moving forward in really kind of awesome and profound ways because of what we're letting go of now. And that's because basically what we have Venus is conjunct the Sun at the moment of the full moon. And just so you know, I write about this a lot, but I'll clear it up here. A new moon is when the Sun and the moon are in the exact same degree, and a full moon is when the moon is in the exact opposite degree of the Sun, so they're in an opposition. So like this one will be called a Libra full moon, but all this stuff I'm talking about is in Aries. So Venus is conjunct the Sun at 6 degrees Aries, and then we have Uranus, my favorite one, at 8 degrees Aries, and then we have Mars at 11 degrees Aries. So they're all really tight, working together. There's a little space to them, so it's not so intense, but it's still going to be intense. Anytime you're going to have Mars energy with Uranus, it's going to be intense. You know, it's going to make things happen quickly. It's going to make things happen now. It's going to make us want everything quickly and now, and let's go and come on. So be aware of that. But there's also this really strong love factor with it all, where things are feeling really brand new, and they're all kind of tied in with this transformation and this death and rebirth cycle that they're all kind of coming in together with Pluto. So there's lots of angles of it, but ultimately it is to elevate us. It is to expand us and take us to another level. Like all of us are going through this right now. And it's kind of so cool too that, you know, it's kind of, you know, this is the first full moon after, you know, me declaring on the last new moon that was really this big gateway of bringing in these Aquarius energies of, you know, one love, and we're all in this together, And we have to think about all our brothers and sisters and everything that is breathing life on this planet as being important and needing to be taken care of and not raped and violated and used and abused. You know, that goes to animals and plants and everything in the air. And but so it's kind of interesting that now all these planets are in Aries, which is the beginning and start over and do over kind of point, and that Uranus just happens to be there too, which rules Aquarius. You know, so Aquarius so is what Uranus is. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just planetarily, it's so amazing to see this stuff sometime and how it's playing out. So we really are, this is kind of like birthing this new thing of like this reboot and learning to love in different ways, you know, feeling things differently. I even had it, I wanted to share this because this was something where I had written on one of my writings at Aquarius Nation about, you know, what I thought was going to happen on 12/21/12. And one of the things I saw happening in this new space of life that we are moving into is that one thing, I'll just get into this one, is with animals, and like that we are going to start like really, it's going to be going, whatever we eat, we're really going to be feeling what they went through. So it's like, if it is this tortured animal, we're going to feel it, you know. And this is my hope. This is like, I'm like, please let this happen. Please let us become so sensitive so that we just cannot encourage the demand anymore. You know, if we don't buy it, they won't be doing it. The farmers won't be doing it. And they won't still keep torturing these animals this way. But so anyway, I was working on my YouTube page, and I was looking for pages that are videos that I liked, you know, just in case any of you go deeper into a page like that. And I was looking on the Earthlings one, which I don't know if any of you know about that movie, but it's like the most difficult, horrifying movie you will ever in your life watch. And I don't encourage that everybody watch it, because it's that painful to see, and it has tortured me. I mean, honestly, it's like, it's completely shifted me. But it did shift me into a place of only putting in my body what has been treated in an honorable way, and I draw that line. I don't, you know, I don't back down from that one. I'm not eating at McDonald's. Are you kidding me? You couldn't pay me. I'd rather just fast for a year than have to eat that food and take that on. But so I went and looked at this Earthlings clip that I was going to share, and I was like, okay, let me watch it first just to see like how much they're showing. And this first scene was with this wolf. I think it was a wolf, and this guy was like stepping on its head. I won't even get so graphic with words, and just the blood coming out. And it was just I instantly started crying, and in a huge wailing tears kind of way of like, you know, but that's, you know, something that we're becoming so in tune with how we are all the same thing. And this is something that will be happening to you, this just extreme sensitivity of like, you know, something that would like take you, you know, a really big death or some event to happen to really make you cry this way. And you can just see this stuff and the tears are coming, because it's like, no, how can this be happening? How can people do this? And I am, you know, too, like, it doesn't help so much to share this stuff, because I used to think we're supposed to keep sharing this stuff to awaken people, but it really does nothing but haunt you, you know? And if anything, it changes your ways, which is good as on an individual level. But ultimately, I just feel like the culprit is that there are human beings who are still not connected to their heart, and that they can do this, you know? So it's like, all we need to do is really intend and wish and envision that people's hearts are opening, and they suddenly are like, I can't do this. I can't treat these animals this way for profit. You know, because like sharing it with people, like, we can't change them, you know, because they're doing it and they think it's okay. So the only thing we can change and hope for is that eventually their hearts just open to the point. Because I know, like you and me, we could never do that. I could never, ever, ever, ever. You know, I feel guilty for any kind of the slightest mistreatment. I mean, disciplining an animal. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. But anyway, so I'm always, of course, going off on something. But that's something that's going to be happening too. This intensity, this sensitivity is building in all of us. So my whole point of everything with this one is, and I'm going to get much more detailed in the individual ones that will be coming up, of course, but whatever this fight, anger, confrontation stuff is coming at you or out of you, understand the whole point of it right now is in transforming those old just fight to get your ways into something where you can really like kind of understand where the person's coming from, and even you sharing more in a vulnerable manner when you're coming at people with a problem. Because everything right now is there is a balance point, and there is a point that once you find it, you can have total peace on all parties. You know, so we're learning that compassionate communications right now with people. And as we transform this and our old habits and old ways of dealing with people when we don't get our way, because we all go through this, as we transform this, we're actually going to be going and growing into huge leaps on our evolutionary path. So right now, what's happening, look for there being common threads or different layers down below that relate to an old habit or pattern you've had that needs to be transformed at this time. Because it's awesome times for that. This is like major like healing work right now, and everything is happening to uncover these hidden layers that need to be addressed and healed with love. Okay, so now please go read your individual readings, and I'm going to get more detailed about this really awesome aspect too with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And it's going to give a really big important indication sign of where you need to trust in yourself and where you need to put yourself more out there as an authority. Okay, have a beautiful full moon, and I will see you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Aries. Thank you.